This is your reactors inside and the reactors outside. You can use a combination, and most of the time in your flight system, what we've shown with John, with the Magrav units which go on top of the stackers, is that you create a field in the direction of the motion. You increase the magnetical field according that this goes further, and so you fly into the vacuum. You have no resistance ahead of you. Iranian space people have done this to absolute effectiveness. So with the stackers, if you look at it, we put the stackers and now we put these Magrav units, they're gonna nano coat. But if you keep this to keep the shape, but you can change gravitational and magnetical of these here, that you create yourself extension of the fields. So you fly into, so there is no chance of anything ahead of you to touch you. You still have what you call the atmospheric condition shielding in totality, but now you strengthen it and you dictate direction of the position. You have a meteorite ahead of you. You have a huge, let's say, plasma field ahead of you, and you want to overcome it. If you drive into it, if you plasmatically run into it, you die. You create a huge mess in your shielding. But you can create a condition that you drive through it, because now you're shielded. You match the field strength with your thing, with your own shielding, by changing the field here. This is how we're walking into the space technology. This is because you understand slowly, slowly. There is a beauty with this. I explain this all the time. Many people understand it. At the present, what we call aircraft industry, where you have your jet motors, and this is your head of your plane, you see the, what you call the trailers, or what you like to call it, chemtrails nowadays. So the trail here shows the where the plane is heading, the head of it is, because the head of the engine, the head of the plane is ahead of the smoke, is in the back of it. With the space technology is different. The trail which you make ahead of you, actually your craft sits in the bottom of it. It's totally opposite. Here you're at mercy of God, that there is nothing there to touch you. Here you always fly in a very protected zone because you control it. This is why this technology, space technology, is so safe. This is why I asked John to go to develop these new rings which you saw to be nano-coated. They're connected with power supply. And then there is a second step into this. John refers back into what we call Alex beads. If you look, the structure he said is a kind of Alex beads. But you have these two beads here. What does it do? Go back to understanding. You have a feedback. What does it mean? You feed back to the one and you feed back to itself. This is important because take these two in a very simple way. Take these two with the three connections of them and place them inside. Reverse the course internally. No rule says that you have to have your beads outside. Now make one coil and give it a feedback to this, and make one coil to feed back to itself, and you see what happens. Now you have created a self-sufficient power generator. Then you don't need to rely on outside. If you are scientifically understand the structure of the space technology and what is to come, what do you see? A lot of you who work with amplifiers, you understand it. Y connection, creation of potential difference. And then when you connect this, is delta connection, creation of power, flow of current. So now you see a self-sufficient, and this is what I kept on telling you. we're on the verge of releasing the generator. You have to understand where it comes from, but we're dealing it totally different. The top core becomes the weakest. We fill it up only with CH3. And the others, because we feel different. The internal confirmation, depending how we feed them, will dictate the potential, and we can increase it. Or we can go on a delta formation and do the current. But now, because we use coil, those of you who understand electronic and electrical, you've seen the structure of the new power generator. When I tell you we are on the verge, we do, because we produce so much, we have to reduce it. Now you bring a combination of the Magrav unit, stacker unit, the star formation together, and you have your self-sufficient. This is how the human cell works. This is how the amino acid works. I told you I opened the book of understanding of knowledge. Now you see where we are. Those of you who understood power generation, now because of the initial power created by the first beat, as you call it, you create your potential difference with it, with your Y and a delta. And if you connect it in the right way, this Y and a delta combination becomes the double coil, what we called feedback. Potential feeds on the current, and the current increases the potential, and then you have your system. This is vital, this is important in understanding of the technology. Why you saw John putting 3 reactor base in the middle, and if you remember in one of the videos last time, there was a little reactor running in the middle. If you put a CHC reactor, a core on the top of the, what do you call it, the tripod, and then cover the other 3, now you can create lift. But you haven't structured the plane that it can lift off. You have to close and make it a self-contained, that whatever you do in it is yours. It's like a house. When you don't have doors and the walls in, the wind takes you anywhere. When you put your doors and walls in, which means you can recreate the spaceship, you can heat inside, you can blow a football match inside. It's all yours. You decide what happens in. And if it's like a balloon, you create enough weight reduction in mass, the house floats, or the balloon flies. We're not doing anything different. But now we are doing it with much more order of magnitude stronger.